lost our audience member.
Good morning. Welcome to our sunrise edition of the Select Board meeting for July 25th, 2024. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I will open the open forum, and I will close the open forum at the same time. Mr. Vice Chair, our agenda for today.
Two action.
I'm sorry, you have to read it off a piece of paper today?
I do, yeah. I've got my
Sorry.
iPad. Two action items is all. We have no appointments, and that's about it. So I guess we're going to executive session for a bit too.
Yes.
Okay. We can start off with discussion to vote to sign agreement with Oli
Skolnick.
PLLC to join PFAS cost recovery program.
So I'll second that for discussion.
Yeah.
Just leave it. Good morning.
Morning.
So yeah, this law firm is one of the, there's about 5 big firms that are representing clients throughout the United States regarding PFAS litigation. This is a class action litigation that was consolidated. There were suits filed all over the country. They were kind of consolidated in the federal court in Charleston, South Carolina. And it's been going on for a number of years. This is regards to the manufacturers of PFAS, and now obviously you're having all the issues of it's getting into the water, groundwater, and whatnot. The town was contacted last summer about potentially joining the litigation. I think it was decided at that time, and it was kind of a wait and see, which a lot of towns did, because obviously it's a fluid situation. You're getting more information all the time. Recently, the court approved 2 settlements. One is with the manufacturer 3M, and that settlement is for between $10.5 and $12.5 billion to settle all claims of PFAS contamination for that company, for PFAS contaminations in public water systems. The court also approved a $1.185 billion settlement with DuPont for the same PFAS contamination of public water systems. There are more. These are the first 2 settlements that were approved. There's other companies that are involved in the litigation. I want to say BASF and some other well-known companies. But these are the first 2 that actually have been approved, settlements that have been approved by the court. These settlements are actually broken down into like 2 classes. There's Phase 1 class members and Phase 2 class members. So Phase 1 class member is a public water source, which is a town or city. Obviously, East Bridgewater is a public water source, as we provide, the town provides municipal water. A Phase 1 class member is a member that tested their water before June 30th, 2023, and that test was found to contain PFAS levels of basically any level, just as long if you found a measurable level of PFAS, that town or city would be a Phase 1 class member. A Phase 2 class member is water systems that basically aren't Phase 1, which means they didn't test and or didn't find PFAS in their water. And so one of kind of the reason we're here is there's a little bit of urgency in the situation because in speaking with, speaking with Jason Trepanier of the Water Department regarding testing that East Bridgewater has done, and I've also spoke with the some of these class action, the attorneys of this firm that we're talking about today. It's been determined that East Bridgewater would be classified as a Phase 1 class member because the town did do the testing before June 30th, 2023, and there were measurable amounts of PFAS in the water. I don't believe they were they were extremely high levels, but they were measurable levels, which would mean that the town would be in this phase one of this settlement. So the reason, like I said, the reason we're here today is that phase one members actually would need to submit their claims actually by the end of day tomorrow. Phase two members are kind of further down the line, probably not for another month. We were contacted by these attorneys. I believe they contacted the town administrator last week. I've been in contact with the attorneys, and I basically informed them that we would go ahead and start. They requested a number of the documents. Most of it's like water records, obviously the testing records. They look at water records from like the last 10 years. There's a number of records that they request. But I spoke with the attorneys and said, obviously we would need the select board to review this and make a decision. But they did inform me. I said, there would be a decision today, and the select board did decide to move forward with it. We would certainly have them in contact with the DPW and a lot of these records. The DPW has already been pulling a lot of these records. The retainer agreement that is in front of you is a pretty typical contingency fee agreement. It's similar to the opioid litigation, where the law firm would receive up to 25% of the settlement or other sum as is approved by the court, whichever is less. And speaking with the attorneys, they indicate the court did reduce the 3M settlement, which is that larger of the settlement, the $10 billion settlement, that those attorney fees were reduced to 16%. The one issue I do want to bring to your attention is that if the town does agree to the settlement and submit a claim, you're essentially giving up your right to sue 3M or DuPont in the future regarding to PFAS water contaminations. Some cities and towns have considered opting out of the settlement and not submitting claims because they, almost more of a wait and see and gather more information, and potentially would probably have to join another class action down the line. As well, while $13 billion is a large number, you also have to remember that includes the entire United States, so it does get split up amongst the towns and cities that have joined the litigation. In addition, the amounts are split roughly in half, with half would be going to the phase one members, which would be East Bridgewater, and half of that money would be going to the phase two members who didn't either test or find PFAS in the waters prior to June 30th, 2023. Exactly how much the town will receive is hard to it's hard to know, because the money is basically doled out essentially by a claims administrator who would review the records that would be submitted by the town with the attorneys. And they basically review all the water records, they review the PFAS levels, and basically there's a computation of that would be paid out, the money would be paid out based on the water levels and the PFAS levels. And the money would get paid out over a period of approximately the next 7 to 12 years, I'm sorry. My understanding with speaking with the DPW is that they are interested in pursuing this. And in speaking with the attorneys, they would certainly assist the DPW and the town with the filings and with the claims and make sure that all correct documentation is included, and obviously try to get the town the most possible money out of each settlement. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Again, if it's the same as the opioid one, I assume there'll be some kind of process after the fact on what exactly the settlement could be used for?
The settlement money?
Yeah.
They haven't, you mean in terms of like that the money was limited to just using it for fixing PFAS issues?
Right.
I haven't seen any. I assume there would be, but you're right. that hasn't been,
Okay.
that hasn't been discussed. That wasn't in any, that wasn't brought up in any discussions, and I did do research or whatnot. But yeah, that wasn't specifically mentioned in the research that I did.
Well, I definitely think it's something we should move forward with. I said, we haven't gone as far as we can with the opioid settlement, but it's certainly something that is, you know, if the town's entitled to it, if we have PFAS in our system, then, yeah, I think we should move forward with it.
Yeah, I agree. You know, obviously, joining a class action suit, rates would be reduced for what we have to pay for attorney fees and their fees, whatever they incorporate as well. So, I mean, it makes sense to jump in, unless you think there's, you know, a waiting period we should do, as you said, some of the other towns do. I mean, I don't know what the benefit of that would be.
Yeah, and I was speaking with John Haynes and Jason Trepanier right before this, and that, you know, some of it is an unknown, right? It's,
Right.
you know, even with this suit, it's a large number. You know, you're looking, just, again, you're only kind of giving a, you know, you're only, right now, you're only accepting these 2 lawsuits, and there's potentially more money down the line against other companies as well. It is a large number. Is it potentially, you know, the towns that opt out, or cities and towns that opt out, they could go down against these same companies, you know, years down the line and get a,
Right.
you know, larger settlement? It's possible. Could they get less?
Right.
Certainly. I think one of the major factors is if with this, you're gonna get the money a lot sooner. And, you know, and again, with the formula, we don't know exactly how much we're gonna get, but this town is certainly gonna get some money out of this. If we don't do anything at this point, you're not gonna get anything, at least from this settlement.
Right.
So it's a little bit more, obviously, you know, and again, where even this money, it's gonna be, the payments will be spread out over this next 7 to 12 years. Obviously, you know, delaying further, it's gonna be further down the line. So certainly with this settlement, you're gonna get the money quicker.
Right.
Yeah, it's exactly the same setup we have with the opioid class action. Works the same way.
And this is going through the whole state of Massachusetts, you said, too? I mean, this is... or is it
This is,
national?
so yeah, it's basically, it basically affects, it's almost like if you've ever gotten, it's similar to class action of any kind of product liability.
Okay.
If you've ever gotten those notices in the
Yeah,
mail,
right.
like, hey, you bought an EpiPen between 20 and 22,
Right.
you're entitled to join this class action, or if you want, you can opt out. So it's similar to that. So basically, essentially every public water source, so any, you know, city and town in the whole United States
Oh, wow.
that, you know, has municipal, you know, city or town water,
Yep.
can be a part of this. And again, some, you know, so I think probably the vast majority are joining, because it is obviously, you know, it is a large number. So, and obviously, you know, some you know, may opt out and,
Yep.
and go down the line. But again, opting out, it's not something, you know, it's something you probably have to do another class action down the line. Obviously, you know, one town's probably not going to go after DuPont or 3M on their own.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and the fact we're in class 1, you know, right away.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll make a motion to enter the agreement with a law firm to join the PFAS cost recovery program.
I'll second that. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Could you authorize Charlie to sign it?
And authorize Charlie to sign.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank
All
you.
right, thanks.
Thanks, Chris. Action item 2.
Yep. Jess, wanna come on up to the big seat? Show on the main camera. So this is an agreement with the town of East Bridgewater and Little Discoveries LLC, 125 Highland Street, in regard to the agreement easement related to the sewer line connection. So, a little bit of a road to get here, but I think we're here. I know there had been a question that came up last night, and I did discuss with Chris, the attorney here, a little bit this morning. So let's enter that same discussion, I guess, with just here. we have basically said in the agreement that, obviously if there's a delay in some aspect for their work, that we would, obviously compensate them for, I think we got the employee records, as you said, Chris.
So certainly, rightfully so, they're concerned about, they have active business there, and they were concerned about, there's always, there is the potential of, a temporary shutdown of the business, which actually obviously would affect their business.
Right.
So we had included, basically, it's like a, penalty, I guess you call it a penalty provision, or, basically to compensate them if there was during construction of the sewer line, if there was a need that their business couldn't open or whatnot. There is a penalty provision that that the town would provide a daily fee, I believe, during the week, because they run a daycare. During the week, it was a breakdown. Basically, they had provided us their payroll for the week, which was about $25,000 a week. So basically, the breakdown for during the weekdays, the penalty provision was around $5,000 a day.
Okay.
The weekends, I believe, was a lot smaller, just because I think it's more about an ice cream.
Just the cafe one.
Cafe.
Yeah, it was just one.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so so the weekend was a little different, because that was a little because it was based on the payroll records. So yeah, the question had come up last.
Unrelated costs, so like, the
Right.
electric bill.
Right.
Things like
Things
that.
of that nature.
And I was okay with just like, I'll pick it up for 5 days, but I was like, beyond 5 days, that feels like a bigger problem. Can we
Right.
Yeah.
then discuss beyond 5 days if I had to shut down longer, my
Yeah.
other costs?
So one of the things that I was talking about, had talked with Peter about, was that even with it is currently written, I would recommend that the town probably would get. I would recommend the town get like what's called a business interruption insurance policy for your business,
Okay.
which essentially that would cover overhead costs or whatnot. And obviously, we'd have to get more details on the policy, but in my experience, that it would cover not only payroll, it would cover other overhead costs, mortgage, whatever, costs like that. So I think that's something we certainly could entertain.
Yeah, Charlie, is that something you could take a look at for us with the insurance carrier to see if there's potential? Now, again, we're talking about, hopefully, John's here as well, a short period of time that that the company's actually doing the work there. What do you estimate, John? A few days?
I would anticipate total construction on the site is only a few hundred feet, less than 5 days of
Okay.
actual disturbance on the property.
Right.
And this project particularly, for this scope of the work, we're anticipating this being night work, which would be after hours, so it would not be intrusive upon the operations of the daycare. It would actually commence after that. There's a portion that's going to have to go up to Highland Street, so we want to do that work at night as well. So that work would be done after operating hours, so it would only be a significant circumstances
Okay.
that we anticipate seeing any delay.
All right. What I would entertain is in the motion to add the fact that, any shutdown and related costs from that shutdown or from the town side would be, obviously would be our responsibility to a portion, if it's a few days, then we pay it based on after the shutdown is determined what it may be, And again, I don't anticipate anything of this matter happening, but I think if we can incorporate that into the agreement and then, look for a way to potentially get some sort of policy
Right.
or something, which I can help as well if you have an issue with the insurance company, then we can incorporate that. That would be obviously the town's responsibility to get something of that matter, which shouldn't be, I've written them before, it shouldn't be a big significance, especially since you're only talking about a specific amount of time. But, if you agree, Chris, if we could, move with the fact that, we'll be responsible, but we'll certainly pick up whatever it may be that we need to cover ourselves. God forbid something does happen, you know.
Yeah, I think, obviously it's
Blow
going
the
to
building.
benefit their, their business, but it'll benefit the town as well.
Yep.
I don't think, of course, we don't foresee any, major issues, and you say, I think everything will go smoothly, but,
Yep.
that's why you get insurance,
Yeah,
because
right.
obviously this would,
Something comes
yeah,
up.
it's totally understandable that their business, that they have a business to run, and they need, they need to be compensated. And as well for the protection for the town, because, God forbid if it was something that, was more of an extended, closure or something like that, that obviously with, they're pretty hefty penalty provisions. So if there was, an extended closure, the town would obviously want coverage for that as well.
Yep.
This would also, this overlies what will already be in place within our award contract.
Right.
So the contractors will have.
I was gonna bring that up.
The general liability.
Yeah, so if it's the contractor's issue, they do something that, obviously,
directly back to
right,
their-
it falls back on them
I
anyway.
like umbrellas.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
They're all
there's
over.
Yeah, there's multiple layers here. that
Multiple layers, yeah.
provide protection.
But we'll certainly, I think we can at least, we'll take a day or two to look to see what we do. If we do need to have that coverage, get the call from the insurance company as well. Because I don't know where our responsibility would be. I mean, what could happen on our end, especially if we have a contractor that that we've hired that has to have the coverage for something that goes wrong. When does the town become responsible and
Right.
and the company doesn't?
And that, yeah, and I think that would be, the typical battle of the insurance companies.
Right.
Fighting over who's gonna cover what. Obviously, if it was something that if it was a clear-cut issue of the contractor broke something
Right,
or caused an
right,
issue,
out of
then it's
line.
an easy call.
Yeah.
But, if it was something, if it was something else,
Unforeseen, yeah, right.
yeah, unforeseen, again, and I think that was part of the portion too, was, we have, there's always, talk about hazardous waste, contamination, something like that, which isn't necessarily anybody's fault, but if you find that, that could cause, extended closure as well. So that's why, you definitely want, it's nice to, obviously, town have its own coverage. You're gonna have the coverage of the contractors, and that way, you're covered no matter what.
Yep.
It's gonna be,
Yep.
either from the town's policy or the contractor's policy.
Right, and just for the rest
Roof
of,
over my head.
right, just for the town's benefit, yours, David, as well as Charlie and Rebecca, we did have Weston Sampson review the, what is it, what's the name of what's the thing, John?
PA report? The
Yeah.
Environmental report?
Environmental report, yeah, there's a name for it. Anyways, the report was given to us by Jess and her husband, and they were able to go through it, and they gave us their blessing. That would be
Okay, good.
Weston
That's my next
Sampson.
question, yeah, but-
Yeah, yep, to say that, they feel comfortable moving forward with the project, so we certainly wouldn't have gone in there, but. So, let's do that, let's take a look at what, what we can get covered for, if we need to have coverage there, the insurance people let us know that. Will encompass into the portion that says here what, that we'd be paying whatever the payroll would be for that period of time into other, other expenses that may be incorporated into that, whatever it may be, like I said, we just talked about. And then we can get you a copy of this. But based on that, I'd like to, make the motion that we enter into this agreement with them going forward, unless something miraculously comes about that says, we can't do that.
Okay.
But for the most part, I think we're set. And instead of having to drag them back here and get everything going.
All right, I'll second that.
Okay.
Any further? All those in favor?
Aye. All right,
Thank
great.
you.
You good?
You're good, yeah, so we'll redo a little bit here and then get back to you and Andy, and we should be fine, and then I'll call you on the other matter
Perfect.
later today.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Announcements? Town administrator? Board discussions? No?
No, yeah, I did have one thing. So the meeting for the, it's a public meeting, so I guess it doesn't matter, right? For the zoning board, which is what, August 7th is the
August
next
7th,
one?
Yeah, okay, so for the residences at Meadowbrook.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, that's August
Right, I
7th.
was away
at
for the
junior
last
senior
one,
high
obviously
school,
couldn't attend, but I know
We'll-
David was
we'll-
able to be there.
We'll post.
But it's a posted meeting, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't matter if we both
We'll be
showed.
posting it, yeah.
All right, that's all I want
We're
to make
going
sure.
into executive,
Yep. Oh, great.
just on the back.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, building commissioner, zoning enforcement officer, director of assessing, IT director, town accountant, town administrator, pursuant to Mass General Law 30A, Section 21A3, discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation in the open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body, and the chair so declares. Firefighters, superior officers, clerical, DPW dispatches, superior officers, patrol officers, library, pursuant to Mass General Law 30A, Section 21A9, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation, as the chair has determined that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect the town's litigation position in the matter involving Town of East Bridgewater versus Ritter Road. I, Peter Spagone, Jr.
By David Sheedy. We will not be returning to open session. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your summer.